You're listening to the Traffic and Conversion Show. I'm your host, Michelle Fernandez, and today is all about how to create urgency when running an Evergreen program. So stay tuned. Hey there, and welcome back to the Traffic and Conversion Show. I'm recording this episode in Charlotte, North Carolina, while visiting my son. We've been discovering new things in the city. I love it that every time I come, it's a new adventure. We're like exploring the city, exploring all the food. Oh my gosh, we've eaten way too much. And my husband and son have also been playing new golf courses too. So they're just loving life right now. Well, while I'm here, I had a call with one of my clients who does a bi-weekly live webinar to sell into a membership. And sales have been amazing and really holding strong going into the second month. And my other client does weekly live webinars to book a call. And again, the numbers keep increasing. So I had a friend ask me like, hey, I started to do these weekly live webinars, and she was really trying to come up with like, how do I create the urgency? Like, why would somebody want to buy right now, right? When they know they can get in next week or next month or next quarter. So she's really like back and forth and really stuck with like, okay, what am I going to do to create this urgency so I can get my revenue to where I want it to be, right? Well, here's the thing. You can stick with quarterly or biannual launches to create this urgency so people can get in, right? Like doors open, doors close, done, right? You can do that. However, all your revenue is dependent on that one launch, right? Or two launches. So the stress is at this all-time high, right? You're like on this huge emotional roller coaster. And I'm saying this based on what I see my clients or my peers going through, right? Not to mention all the people that you're literally saying no to because the doors are closed, right? Which means that you are not able to serve them, or they will go to your competitor, right? So I don't really know which one is worse, but they both seem pretty bad. Now, evergreen programs are ideal because the doors are always open, which means a steady flow of new customers and lives that you're able to change, and a steady flow of revenue. So that to me is a win-win. Is it a win-win for you? I'm sure it is, right? Well, again, what comes up for most people is, why would someone get in now, right? If they can get in at any time, which is a great question to ask yourself. And the question is, have you asked yourself, even if you're doing annual or biannual, quarterly, or whatever launches, there still has to create some urgency to get in now, okay? So when selling an evergreen or open enrollment program, so this doesn't mean a membership, right? Or it doesn't mean a course that you're in for 3 or 6 months. This could still mean a mastermind program, some high ticket item. Creating a sense of urgency can be challenging because there is no deadline, right? So I'm going to be sharing with you some tips on how to create urgency and encourage potential customers to enroll sooner rather than later. All right, so let's dive in. Okay, so number one, emphasize the benefits of early enrollment. So highlight the advantages of enrolling early, such as getting access to the program sooner, maybe even being able to take advantage of any bonuses or discounts that are available earlier, right, for those early birds. So let's define what this means. Let's kind of break it down, if you will. So when we're talking about emphasizing the benefits of early enrollment, it's really a powerful way to create the sense of urgency and encourage potential customers to enroll early, right? So here are some advantages to the early enrollment that you can possibly highlight, okay? So as always, and anything that I ever go over in person on the podcast, like think about ways that this can work for you. And then maybe you're like, early enrollment, maybe not so much, but listen to the next tips, right? Because here's the thing. This all works, right? Everybody's program is different, whatever they feel like works best for them or their customers, or maybe this is not what you're doing right now. And when a time comes to pivot, because we all have times comes when it comes to pivot, think about these things, right? This could be maybe a new offer you have, or like, oh, what I'm doing was working great and all of a sudden it just stopped. What else do I have in my back pocket, or what other tools do I have that I can bring out? Okay. All right. So get early access to the program sooner, right? Customers can gain access to the program sooner than those who want to wait to enroll. This can be particularly beneficial if the program is designed to help customers solve a pressing problem or achieve a specific goal. So think about that. How can your messaging, or how can you maybe have something that if they enroll early, it's going to solve a particular problem or get them there faster, get them over that initial hump, right? Secure a spot in the program. By enrolling early, customers can if I could say it, can secure a spot in the program before it fills up, right? So this can be especially important if the program has limited availability or if it's in high demand. So think about it this way. You might be saying, hey, we're only going to be taking on 10 customers this round because that's what we can fulfill on. All right. So do people want one of those 10 spots? Yes, right? Because also think about this. It would be a great problem if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so many members, and then all of a sudden, fulfillment wise, you just cannot like handle it, right? The bandwidth isn't there. So you don't ever want to take on more before you have like that internal infrastructure set up. So by explaining to them, hey, right now, this is what we're able to hand and give you that white glove service, right? And then it's like, okay, but then after this, then we're going to have to basically, get revved up again to serve the next 10. Right. So then people will want to say, hey, I want that white glove service. Wait, there's a limited number. Get where I'm going? Okay. Then taking advantage of bonuses or discount. Now, many programs offer bonuses or discounts to customers who enroll early, right? So that's like the fast action. So let me give you an example. You might offer a free ebook or maybe a complimentary coaching session, right? Or a discounted price for anyone who enrolls in the first 4 days, 5 days, right? By highlighting these benefits, you can encourage potential customers to take advantage sooner rather than later. And here's the thing with that. I hear this a lot of time. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to come up with new bonuses every week. Not the case, right? Because we want to think about this. And this is something super important because this has come up a lot too. Or it's like, depending on the amount of, like we talked about, fast action, and then maybe there's mid cart, and then maybe there's, like last minute cart bonuses that you could put in there. There's a lot of options that you can do. It's just how complicated do you want to make it, right? And when we're talking about the bonuses, you can do the same bonus launch after launch, week after week, month after month, however you are launching this evergreen course. Because remember, the bonus that's going to hook them in the best is the bonus that's going to get them there faster. What is something that maybe is an objection or something that they're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this one thing that I just dread doing? Well, what if the bonus is I'm going to make it easier for you to do this, or I'm going to do it for you, or I'm going to give you like a plug and play system for it. Okay. So think about that. Then like having more time to prepare. So by enrolling early, customers have more time to prepare for the program. They can review any like pre-work materials, gather any necessary resources. They can also clear their schedules to ensure that they are fully committed to the program. This is huge, okay? And I know some of you might be saying, oh, that's so crazy. But it is, because I'm sure an objection comes up for you, especially if you have like coaching calls or maybe retreats. It's like, well, wait, when are the retreats? Wait, what are the calls? What time? Oh, wait, I can't do that day and time, right? But maybe if they enroll in early, maybe they can't make the first 2 or 3 live because they already have prior commitments, but then they can make the next ones because now they're able to prepare that for themselves, right? This can definitely help them get the most out of the program and achieve their desired outcome. And then lastly is to reduce stress and anxiety by enrolling early. Customers can reduce their stress because they know that they're in. They can rest assured that they have a secured spot and they can focus their energy on preparing for their program and achieving their goals, right? Okay, the next one is limited availability. Now, we kind of talked about this a little bit, creating a sense of exclusivity by indicating that there are a limited number of spots available for the program that may be filling up very quickly, right? Now, can motivate potential customers to sign up before the program reaches the capacity. Now, this is something big. I've definitely fell into this before because I wanted one of those spots, right? Or even like when we're talking about bonuses, maybe like so many people, like the first 5 get X, right? That is now talking about filling the spot and the exclusivity of being one of the first, okay? So here are some ways that you can leverage this strategy. One is to communicate the scarcity of spots, right? Clearly communicate that there are only a limited number of spots available for your program. This can obviously create a sense of urgency for potential customers to act quickly before the spots fill up. Another way is to highlight the demand for your program. Emphasize the popularity and demand for your program to reinforce the idea that the spots are likely to fill up quickly. This can create a sense of FOMO, which that is the best thing I love is FOMO because I have it all the time. My kids get it. My husband gets it. It's like when everybody's hanging out here or going here, it's like they want to be there too, right? So it works as well. Think about it. They want this dream. They have this desire to get something done. And if they feel that they're missing out, ooh, that's like on such a bigger scale, right? And it really motivates the potential customers to enroll. Another way is to use a countdown timer. This is huge. If you don't have these on your sales pages, on your checkout pages, possibly in your emails as well, to show that once this timer goes down, that's it. Like your spot is taken. All like, you know what I'm saying? So when they're on it and they're thinking and they see the seconds going and the minutes going, it's like, oh, I better hurry up and take some action. Okay. Use social proof. This is big. I'll probably talk about this again, but sharing testimonials or case studies from previous customers or current customers who have enrolled in your program and have had success can demonstrate the value of your program and create the sense of urgency because they're like, wait, I want those results too. So when you're curating any case studies or testimonials, this is something I always recommend, is that you want them to be specific to an objection. All right. And before I continue, I want to make sure I say this before I forget, is that when you're also looking at it, don't just look about, oh, I went from $0 to $1 million, right? It's not just about revenue. It could also be something like, hey, I took action. I took a step. Because a lot of people will see this and say like, well, wait a minute. I can't see myself making 0 to $1 million right now in so much time, right? That's almost unachievable. Like only certain people can do that, right? So when you're pointing out little things like, hey, I, got my Instagram, bio done and I got my thing, whatever that is, that's something that's like, oh, I could totally do that, right? If I just sat down and did it. All right. So think about that. Back to the objections. So whenever you do a case study, you want to look at what objections come up. So we already know that it's time, money, and can I do this? So is there a client or a previous client that maybe, has 6 kids and works a full-time job and then was able to do whatever, right? So then that way you're like, okay, you say time's an issue. Well, let's look at Susie over here. She blah, 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 right? So it's things like that, like, oh, I didn't have money, but I took a chance. I invested, maybe I sold some things or, whatever it is, because it's going to motivate them to get faster. So you want to look at what kind of case studies you're bringing in. So really have your ear to the wall or whatever that saying is, where your customers, where they've started, you're in touch with them to know what their journey is like working with you, where they started, their struggles as they've come through and how they overcame. And this will really help you convert more sales. Okay. And then lastly, in this section is to offer a wait list. Now, this is something I don't see so much anymore. However, especially with open enrollment, you might be saying, well, why are we going to offer like a wait list? Well, there could be an opportunity where maybe like we were talking about, there's limited availability and the spots do fill up, then maybe you offer a wait list to create that sense of urgency so they can make sure that they have their name on the thing, on the list, to when spots go up and they'll be the first one to know. Okay. Next one is time limited bonuses or discounts. Now, you might be saying, well, wait, isn't this what you just talked about? Kind of, okay. Well, I'm trying to give you every single detail so you can kind of make this work for you. Okay. So for those who enroll within a specific time frame, such as when the next week, month, this can create the urgency. Okay. So let's dive into some ways that you can leverage this strategy. So first is clearly communicate what the bonus or what the discount is, okay? So we want to say what's the time frame, what's included, what's that percentage off? Is it like a free additional resources, tools, right? Or a limited time trial? We want to be very, very specific. Then we want to highlight the value of the bonuses or discount. So when we're talking about emphasis on the value of it, this can demonstrate the tangible benefits of enrolling in your program with a specific time frame to create the urgency to act quickly, right? So it's like, okay, what is that? Again, with the countdown timer, we always want to do that. Again, with the social proof, you're going to see that a lot of this is like, we're going to be including all of it in all these things to make it work, okay? It's like this perfect recipe, okay? And then also like, when we're talking about the bonuses, this is also big, or a discount. This is my personal opinion on it. And again, you can do whatever feels right for you, okay? When I see a discount, yes, people always want a discount, right? And then I've also heard people are like, well, wait a minute, if they're discounting it, then wouldn't I normally buy it for the discounted price? That to me is like shopping at Macy's. I never buy anything full price at Macy's. Why? Because they're always having the biggest sale ever, right? And then it's like every day or every weekend, you see a commercial with the biggest sale ever. I'm like, you know what? I know that this holiday's coming up. I know that whatever's coming up. I'm just going to wait and buy something for the biggest sale ever and get it at like 50, 60% off. Am I right? And if you haven't noticed it, you're going to start noticing that now. So when you're talking about discounting, that's where I kind of fall in, where it's like, oh, I'm just going to wait till she offers that discount, right? Versus, oh my gosh, I'm going to pay this price no matter what. But will I get the one-on-one call with her, or will I get this, right? That's really what I personally, and I buy everything, am looking at, right? So what does that look like for you? Next is to highlight the consequences of not enrolling. This is, to me, for me, what hits home to me is what really seals a deal. We are emphasizing the potential of negative outcomes of not enrolling, right? Whether it be missing out on valuable information, or falling behind from competitors who enrolled, or honestly, being in the same exact place that you are right now, a year from now, or 6 months from now, whatever your program looks like. That to me, it like hurts my heart, right? Because it's like, I want this dream or desire so bad that I'm willing to do whatever for it. And geez, I could be 6 months older in the same place, or I could be 6 months older with cash in my pocket, with a team, whatever that is that I want, or that dream. This to me is one of the biggest things that you should be enforcing with any time that you're creating urgency, okay? So here are some ways that you can leverage this strategy. Again, emphasize the consequence. Clearly communicate the potential negative outcomes of not enrolling, okay? The social proof. Maybe one of your case studies is like, hey, you know what? I was on the fence. I couldn't decide. I ended up waiting 6 months or 3 months or whatever. And I was kicking myself because it wasn't as hard as I thought. Or, oh my gosh, like I was able to do this, whatever it was, right? I ended up making money right away. And if I would have done it sooner, blah, 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 right? You get my point. Demonstrate the value of the program. Highlight the unique value of your program and how it can help your potential customers achieve that desire, achieve the goal, right? Or solve that pressing problem. This is super important too, because a lot of times people think, oh, I could just solve that. Or I was on that webinar, I could do this and I could figure it out, right? You can, but how long is that going to take you? Again, that FOMO, create the FOMO to figure out, okay, oh my gosh, if I'm not in this, where am I going to be? Okay. And then of course, offer the deadline. okay, of what this emphasis is going to be. Next, we're talking again about social proof, and I'm probably going to just kind of highlight this a little bit because we talked about so much. Okay, creating the testimonials or the case studies, right? And this goes back to creating that FOMO. It's a concept that people are more likely to take action when they see somebody else doing it other than you, because they're looking at you like, well, of course she can do it. Of course she can talk about that. She earns 7 figures, she whatever, right? So we want to showcase regular people, if you will, like just like them, people who were in their same position or who are in their same position, right? This makes you more credible and more of an authority because it's coming from other people that are normal. So it's funny because I go back and forth, even so on I call them famous people. So like the influencers. So for example, you might have seen people do this. However, there are other famous people. So if you've ever attended one of Tony Robbins' events in his mastery program, I did it all last year. And then he would have Dean Graziosi come on and basically talk about the mastery program and how it benefits or what have you, right? So yes, I love me some Dean Graziosi. However, a lot of people might say, well, this is Dean Graziosi. Of course, he's going to say Tony's amazing and this and that because they're friends, they're partners, they do this and that together, right? So it's kind of like, who else might you bring on that? Yes, you could bring on some pretty powerful influencers. However, who else is normal that we could see hey, if they could do it, I could do it too. Okay, so let's talk about some ways that you can leverage social proof in your marketing. Okay, we talked about testimonials, right? So testimonials and case studies are totally different, right? So testimonials can actually be from somebody who knows you, right? Somebody who knows the type of person that you are, that you're in integrity, that you're a good person or what have you. That's really more of a testimonial. A case study is more of how they got from point A to point B. Okay. And a testimonial could even be from your clients where maybe how they share how you are able to break some things down, right? Like how you're able to, your teaching style, things like that. Okay. So just so you know the difference between the both. Highlight success stories. Like we talk about having case studies, but what if you highlighted your customers? So think about doing this maybe in your sales sequence, post when you pitch. Maybe you're talking about and highlighting certain customers, highlighting them on socials, in your emails, right? Again, leverage social media, share those reviews and feedback from the previous customers, do all those things and showcase your expertise. Share your own credentials and your experience and your authority in your field. This can definitely demonstrate your expertise and create a sense of trust and credibility of your potential customers. By implementing the strategies that I shared with you today, you can definitely create a sense of urgency and encouragement, right? And encourage potential customers to enroll in your Evergreen or open enrollment programs all year long, week after week, month after month, quarter after quarter, whatever you're doing. All right. I hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, let's grow your business together.